Hello gin lovers and welcome back to No Nonsense Gin Reviews with me, Bobby Freeman. Now then, cast your eyes upon this dumpy little fellow to my left hand side. For this, my friends, let me introduce you to a new friend of mine, which is Campfire Old Tom Gin. Now then, many of you will not have heard of this one. I appreciate that. It's because it's a fairly small company and relatively new as well. They opened their doors in 2016, so they're about 3 years old. And I had the great pleasure of meeting one of the founders of the company, Ben, at the Craft Distillers Expo in London. And I know I usually like to try the gins for the first time on the show. However, I did try a few gins, obviously, at this expo, and this was one of my favourites. In fact, as you can see, the bottle is half empty. That's because I downed the first half just before I started the video. Not really, of course, because I'd be dead. So, although I have already tried it, I thought I'd bring it to you today because I want to share this with you because I'm very, very excited about it. Now, as you know, I primarily drink London Dry Gin, which is what the vast majority of people drink. However, I have done reviewed one Old Tom before. I don't think it's... No, I think I've drunk it all. It was a Hayman's Old Tom, and I loved it. It's very, very nice. So if you're not familiar with what Old Tom is or how it differs to London Dry, please have a look at my History of Gin video, which I'll put a link to in the section below, and it will explain all about it and save me having to do it here. I will just summarise very quickly. When gin started off hundreds and hundreds of years ago in Holland, when it was called Geneva, a very, very, very crude version of what we know today, Old Tom is kind of like the bridging gap between that Geneva and the London Dry which we drink today. And the main difference between London Dry and Old Tom is basically Old Tom is quite a lot sweeter. It's a little bit more viscous and it's kind of a little bit more intense. And it's started to gain popularity again now. It's kind of, I suppose it's kind of a retro thing really, but not many people know about it. So if you're new to Old Tom, you don't know about it, I'd recommend that you really try it because it's, you know, it's part of gin's history. We wouldn't have all this, like everything we got here, if we didn't have Old Tom. So, history lesson over. Let's have a quick look what they say about themselves on the website. It's from the Puddingstone Distillery, okay? So it says, here we go. So, pitching camp on the boundary between classic and contemporary gins, award-winning Campfire Gin is produced in small batches by the Puddingstone Distillery. The first gin distillery in Hertfordshire, we are situated on the base of the Wilston Reservoir, just 5 minutes from Tring in the beautiful Chilterton Hills. Named Campfire because we, Ben and Kate, founders of Puddingstone Distillery, have enjoyed some of our best gin and tonics outside and around campfires. Well, that sounds bloody good to me. Our take on this historic style considers what a rural distiller might include in the botanical lineup. To this extent, we have used malted barley to achieve sweetness and spice things up with cinnamon and cardamom. These sit alongside juniper, British coriander, chamomile, angelica root. Now then, apparently it was pointed out to me by one of the guys at the expo. I've been saying angelica root, but apparently it is pronounced angelica root. So once again, I am an ignoramus and I apologise profusely. So angelica root, cardamom and fresh lemon peel. This distilled and compounded gin has a hint of colour and a spicier character than our Campfire London Dry Gin, which I look forward to trying in the future. Now then, one of my subscribers and good friend Sean Seasongood from Texas, howdy y'all, has said to me that I've been a bit slack in giving you the ABV of the gins, and he's got a good point, to be honest. It's quite a crucial part, so I should be doing that in the future. By the way, if anyone's got any more requests, anything I'm doing wrong with the gin or you want me to include, please let me know. Well, in fact, it doesn't even have to be to do with the gin. As long as you click that subscribe and like button, I will do pretty much anything you damn well want. So here we go then, Sean. This one is 45%. That's a pretty potent gin, but we like that here on No Nonsense Gin Reviews. God, I put these bottles a bit too close together, didn't I? There we go, that's better. So I think that's enough talking for today. Let's get the old top off. Does it have a cork? Oh dear, Ben, we do like to do the cork test here on No Nonsense Gin Reviews, but don't worry, it's just a bit of fun. Right. Oh my God, that smells amazing. As I say, I have tried this before, but I'm just sort of reliving it again at the moment. I think it's quite difficult to recall a smell, isn't it? So I think even though you've smelled it before, you can be just as affected the second, third, fourth, fifth, however many times. Oh my God. It's not often I say this because I think, you know, as you all know, I think sniffing the gin is a little pretentious, but I tell you what, I could quite happily sit in a bar and sniff that for hours. It's beautiful, it's loaded and it's heavy and it's intense, which is exactly what an Old Tom should be. It's sort of, you can sort of smell the thickness. You can almost smell the thickness of the flavours in there. You can almost taste it just through the nose. Honestly, it really is gorgeous. But as I always say, let's not spend too much time sniffing it. Let's get it in the old glass, shall we? Right then, is it going to be a clean pour today? Beautifully clean. I'm getting very, very good at that. Right, in goes the old tonic. No messing around. About that much, I reckon. It is a strong gin. I think that might be a little bit strong, but you know what? I'm feeling a bit hardcore today, so I'm going to bloody well go for it. Right, here we go. Campfire Old Tom Gin. Cheers. Oh, honestly. Oh yeah, it's still going. It's still going. It's still giving more. This is just. It's not often I say this, but I love every sip of this gin. It right from the point it just teeters on your lips to when it flows over the tongue to when it goes down the throat to the aftertaste. It's got like kind of a double aftertaste. As I say, when it just seems to keep going, you've swallowed it, you think, oh, you're going to make comment on it. But more, it just keeps coming. It's got oodles of aftertaste. That's not a measurement that gets used very often enough, is it, oodles? Didn't I say that the other day? I think I did. I don't want to milk it. We'll move on. But honestly, seriously, it's just... Let me have another go. Oh, man. It's just with the, as I said, with the smell, it's heavy and loaded with flavors. You get that sort of intense, pregnant sort of sweetness about it. It's almost like sort of, oh God, it's overflowing with the, no, it's not overflowing. That makes it sound sickly. It's not. It's heavy with that sweet flavor, but it's just the right amount without going over into the realms of sickliness. And that sort of viscous sweetness is backed up by a beautifully balanced amount of spice, which I suppose will come from the cardamom. It's just absolutely gorgeous. It's sort of like I talk about balancing of flavors, and but literally, I mean, these guys at the Puddiston Distillery, they know what they are doing. They know what they are doing. I can't wait to try their London Dry, because if this is anything to go by, it's going to be fantastic. I'm going to have to have another go here. Oh, do you know what? I'm so glad that Old Tom seems to be, and not many people know about it at the moment, but it seems to be sort of clawing its way back to very, very slowly, but very, very definitely and with purpose towards the mainstream. And I think with the huge gin boom that's sort of happened over the last few years, perhaps the market is getting a bit saturated with London Dry. I think the time is right. The time is nigh for the Old Tom to break through and sort of breathe new life into a saturated market. And my friends, as I say, you probably won't be, I don't think you can get this abroad now. I'm not sure, but I'm sure, Ben, if you're watching this, please correct me in the comments below. But you need to get it out there. If you're in the UK, if you live in the UK, or you're visiting the UK, for the love of God, find some of this stuff. Look it up on the website, find where they sell it, and just get some, because if you like gin and if you appreciate more of a depth of flavour and more and you like the history of gin as well, because it is such a rich history, then I would thoroughly recommend you to get hold of some of this, because it's just indulgent, it's divine. It's almost like you almost feel it's a kind of, in a way, you almost feel guilty. You think, surely this can't be that good, but it bloody well is. Honestly, it is absolutely gorgeous. In fact, you know what? I don't do this very often, but I'm going to bloody well down it. Here we go. Oh, yes, it's even better when you down it. Man alive, that is good. Oh. Now then, we come to the price, and it is a little bit on the pricey side, okay? But when you have small distilleries producing small batches, they kind of have to, okay? Because otherwise they would starve to death, literally. I mean, they have to be able to make any money to it. They have to charge a little bit more. And I appreciate that. And I always say £30 is my top line. This one is going to be about £35, okay? However, occasionally, I think it's worth breaking that rule that I set. I mean, it's only the rule that I set anyway. As you know, you don't have to heed it. But I usually say £30 is the top. If ever I was going to be paying more money for a gin than £30, it is for one like this. Because I tell you now, it is worth it. So on this occasion, cast aside my advice about the £30, save up an extra £5 and get this little fellow in your life because I love it. Mwah. So there we have it, guys. I've loved this review today. I've literally revelled in every second of it. And if you've revelled in it too, then don't forget to subscribe and press my like button and the little bell thing so you get notified when my new videos come out. And I will quite literally see you all next time on No Nonsense Gin Reviews, where I shall be Bobby Freeman. Thank you very much. Bye-bye.